Welcome back to another episode of NewOrleans.Football presented by PJ's Coffee. We're up here at the airline location in Metairie to talk more Saints to you guys on today's show. And if you're coming up here, you might as well do it in a car that you bought from Matt Bowers. He'll get you the best prices, best customer care, the best car buying experience that you can have. Check out Matt at one of his many locations. What do we got?
We got our first segment presented by Hard High Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey. For the past couple of years, the Tampa Bay
and Chilton County Peach.
And Chilton County Peach. Can't forget the Chilton County Peach. They're changing the game with that. Make sure you get your hands on that and tell them NOF sent you whenever you get a bottle. Post a picture, tag them, let them know you drinking them. For the past couple of years, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been dominating the NFC South, having, hands on the wheel, driving the car. But how long until the 2025 Saints could become threats and go in there and challenge them for that top spot?
I think it's undetermined. I mean, I don't feel like this is a question that actually has a answer right now because there's just so many unknown variables. Right. And even if things start hitting, I think you're still multiple years away. And I think you need a series of things to hit to get to that point. Now, the flip side of this is how long does Tampa have to hold on to it? But I don't think it would even matter. I feel like other teams in this division are closer to catching them than the Saints. I think the Saints are probably fourth right now. They're the team that does not have any answer at quarterback. There's no path forward from there right now because we don't know what these guys are. Maybe they're the team with the best quarterback, but we don't know that. Atlanta doesn't really know either with Penix.
Yeah.
Carolina at least has a guy that they've seen win an NFL game. The Saints don't have that right now. So until you at least see that, I think it's pretty far away. And honestly, I don't really see pieces on this. I don't see a foundation for the future on defense at all. Like anywhere. I don't see it. I don't see the building blocks. At least on offense, I see the offensive line. There's the possibility at quarterback. There's some young receivers that you have decisions to make on. But defensively, what are you building around right now? I mean, there's Chase Young. But, like, what else is the long-term answer at that position? Alante's in a contract year.
Yeah.
Until he's under contract, you can't look at him like that. Kool-Aid needs to have a good season. Maybe he's one of them. Justin Reed's 28. Tyrann Mathieu at the end of his career. Demario Davis is at the end of his career. Pete Werner's okay. Brian Brzee is a situational player right now. I don't see it. I mean, I think they are I don't want to say a long ways off because you can turn it around in an offseason, especially you have the quarterback in place. But as it stands right now, I don't think they're in striking distance. They're playing the 50cc and they aren't ready for the 150cc race. So that Mushroom Cup's like still far away, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree that there is no pieces around there that you can say, okay, we're going to build around this. This gives me hope for the future long term. And Alontae Taylor would be that, but he isn't under contract going forward now. But that kind of brings me to the point that Mike and I have talked about the importance of bringing somebody like Asante Samuel in to have that be a younger piece that you can build around, but you don't know what he's going to be like coming off of this surgery.
Yep.
So I even wouldn't mortgage that off of somebody who you don't know how they're going to come back. But it's just so many variables, so many things. It's funny that you related it to like a Mario Kart because now, there's a green shell hitting you, but then they got the red shell in the tuck waiting to come if things don't work out how they're planning to work out. And just about this rebuild as a whole, they didn't want to rebuild. They didn't have that as the framework on how they were going into it. They restructured a lot of the older guys that have been here, that have been pillars of the organization, kept them in. But then the Derek Carr situation kind of forced their hand into having to pursue another person that was going to be that guy, or Spencer Rattler was going to be that guy. So it's a tough spot to be in, but I think just to answer for the sake of answering the question on how long until they become viable threats, it can be this year. I'm not expecting it to be this year, but maybe 2 years. Because right now you say you have them at fourth. Who do you have in that 2 and 3 spot?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what Penix is at all. Theoretically, I think Carolina's probably behind Atlanta, but if Penix isn't good, I think he's as much of a mystery as these guys playing for the Saints are, if we're being, fair about it.
Right.
I can't crown him anything. So I don't know. I mean, he was drafted way higher. Theoretically, he should be way better than what the Saints have. But that doesn't mean anything once you're in the league. It's really about who puts it together. I just don't, Is it possible this year? I mean, I guess it could be. I guess if a lot of things hit in the right direction, it could be. If your offensive line is stout, anything becomes possible, I think, at that point. If Staley gets a lot more out of the scheme, maybe, maybe there's way more to give from these players. I don't think there is. I think it's talent deficient on the defensive side of the ball, but maybe smoke and mirrors and you can maybe hide some stuff. He does come from the Fangio tree, and that's been at the cutting edge of defense in the NFL right now. It's kind of the thing that defines everything. Those 6-1 fronts, the way they disguise their coverages, show them 4 rotating into single high. Like a lot of stuff they do are the reasons that you see less explosive plays, less scoring, less everything in the league. A lot of that is like Fangio fingerprints. So you have that here, but I think Staley has a ton to prove. Like I don't necessarily just feel blindly confident in him in the same way I do with Kellen Moore. So I think there's just a lot to prove. I think there's a lot that we have to see. And I just think as we sit now today, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying the road is not there, that they can't get on the path, that they can't surprise, that they can't be better than expected. But I just don't see that enough yet for me to sit here and say it. And look, I'll say this, though. I think the learning process, like for me, and I even kind of, I'm about to go on like a side mission here on this, but I even found it interesting that I feel like some of the veteran players kind of speak in the same way that I feel like we speak now after having gone through Sean Payton to Dennis Allen era 1, Dennis Allen era 2 to Kellen Moore era. Right. Like there's more of a.
Would it be fatigue?
No, I don't know if fatigue's the right word, but when you talk to some of these guys, I don't hear the same just kind of general things are going to work out. This is how it could be good optimism. It's more like
jaded.
We're going to handle what we can handle and kind of see where the chips fall. It's kind of how it kind of sounds like all that. I kind of feel like that's where I've been at my analysis this whole offseason is just kind of like, I'm not going there. Like, I just got to see it. Like, this is all like this is the culmination of that conversation. And this is like, yeah, we got to see it. Like, I just don't. I can't sit here and say like it's going to work out because I don't know. And my honest feeling is that the odds are it won't. Like mathematically, historically, logically, any filter you want to apply to this is falling on the wrong side of it right now. And there always are. There's a the team that comes back from 3-1. Someone has to do it to beat that team when they show the record. But I just don't. I don't know that this is a team that's coming back from the 3-1 deficit this year.
And that is a point. You don't want to be pessimistic. You don't want to be just anti. You want to just be realistic, though. And that's even when we were picking our win totals for the season. We've been burned so many times over the last couple of years thinking that, oh, well, they added this piece, so this should be good. They added this piece, so this should be good. And then just keep on getting smacked in the mouth.
Well, even adding that, like the piece to that too is just kind of well, if they get healthy, like they got a better injury luck. Well, maybe they won't.
Yeah,
that was part of it last year, and I was like, wow, this is worse. So yeah, I mean, there's just so much that can go wrong.
No, that definitely is going wrong. So much that can go wrong, but just kind of looking around the NFC South and going weapon for weapon, I think the Saints can end up with maybe the second best receiver core.
Who's number one, Atlanta?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Atlanta's definitely number one. I don't know in Tampa Bay because you can pencil in the 1,000-yard season for Mike Evans, but I don't know what Chris Godwin is going to look like coming off of this injury. And I don't really, nobody else on there really stands out to that extent to where I can say, oh, well, this is a rock-solid, ironclad core because you have Rashid Shaheed, a flyer, Brandon Cooks, another flyer, and Chris Olave, flying but can do other stuff too.
It's tough to say because I think it comes down to quarterback. You might be you can have the best gun, but it might just be range bullets. Like it doesn't. Yeah, so it just kind of depends. I think it really kind of depends on that. Like they could theoretically have the most talented core in the whole division and quite possibly have the least production, and it's just the equation might. I so much of that goes back to the QB. Now, I don't think it's going to be that bad. I don't, but for Chris Olave to be better than Mike Evans, Tyler Shuck, Spencer Rattler, whoever has to be better than Baker Mayfield, probably. Yeah. You at least have to give him the opportunities. You at least have to put yourself in within a tier of wherever Baker's at, and Baker's in a decent little tier there, and there's a couple more below. So as long as you're existing up there, and obviously if he's healthy, yeah, maybe. Shaheed, obviously, I mean, I think he's one of the more unique players in the league. But yeah, there's so much of it comes back to the QB. So definitely possible. I'm not dismissing the notion at all. Like I think it's definitely. I think they actually have possibly good pass catchers, but man, to get on the other side of Tampa and Atlanta, so much you have to go right at QB, I think.
Right. No, I didn't even think about that portion of it, because you can have that positive, but not saying that anybody is bad, but you can have a negative plus that positive and still not be positive. Yeah. So definitely that is a great point right there. But then on defense, I mean, you get to looking age plus inexperience plus need to see more. There's too much of need to see more. And, look, in fairness to those players, that's what the season is for, to show more, to go out there and show how you've progressed and gotten better every single week. But collectively as a whole, I mean, and they know it. They have to.
We probably don't weigh enough how much that Foskey pick set him back on D. That's the 40th pick in the draft. Like, and you're getting nothing out of him. Like, he doesn't have to be a star, but, like, he should be the guy getting 4.5, 5 sacks every year. Yeah, you need that out of that pick. 40th pick in the draft. Like, I think people forget how high he was picked. That's like my go-to line with Shuck. It's like, well, he was the 40th pick in the draft. Of course he's going to be the starter. And it's like, well, but maybe not. Like, that can go wrong. I do think Shuck ends up the starter. I think Spencer's like a notch ahead of him right now, but I think he does end up there. But that Foskey pick is as bad as any of them, really. Like, he's not even rotational right now. You can't figure him into that. Maybe he ends up being, but like that ain't somewhere I'm willing to go.
And that's I don't know if it's just because we do talk often, but that was the player I was thinking about in my head just without saying his name, because you have to see it. Yeah. It's at the point where you have to see it. There's no more, let's adjust this and let's do this and no. Got to go out there. Got to get it done regardless. It just is what it is. It has to be what it has to be. Let's transition into our next topic presented by Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant. We just talked about quarterback play and how important that is and how, a little bit ahead another team in the NFC South might be, but a scenario that, kind of has been thrown around ever since Derek Carr retired. And, we've asked Kellen Moore about it. Cam Jordan went on Kay Adams' show advocating for a player to come back. What does acquiring a veteran quarterback look like for the Saints?
They don't. Like, I think it's a bad idea. And I was on board with it at one point. But honestly, look, I think there's a piece of this even with like a battle where there's people that you can legitimately, either one can win. And I'm okay with dealing with any fallout of that where because like what happens is when you're giving people a choice, people choose. It creates factions, and I don't think there's anything divisive really about this one where you can't put it back together at the end of it. But and I think you're willing to deal with it because you have two undetermined outcomes, and both of them have significant upside. And whatever you have to do to keep it whole at the end, I think you're okay with it. And I think both these players are going to handle it fine. They've been through it before. They've dealt with it. They know it. They know there's another side to it. There's life on the other side, all that. But I think bringing someone else in, like creating a third option, I don't know. I don't know that you need the independent vote here. Like I just don't. I don't think it's something that would be a good idea. I laid out a lot of reasons before. I was like, man, I think they should do this. And the more and more I think about it, like I think you're okay. And then the other part of that, I wanted that leadership to have like that coaching voice in the room. And I know he's a young player, but I think that's kind of Jake Haener. I think he's incredibly smart. I think when I talk to him, I'm like, man, this guy is going to be an NFL coach one day. Just he's smart. He understands it. Hearing how quickly he's picked up all of this, like I think he's a tremendous asset in the meeting room in a way that, not like a Joe Flacco's been around for 700 years. Like obviously there's value there, but in a way that I think Jake's like, wise beyond his years. And I think he understands his place on this team and where he can help. I think he's going out there trying to win the job, obviously, but I think he knows how to remain an asset behind the scenes. I think he can play that role. Like him talking about the Kellen Moore offense, like made like, man, and he like speaks in a way where it's just like,
you want to listen.
Yeah. It makes you listen and it makes you just understand. Like he has great communication skills, and I think he can be that guy in that room. But I don't want a vet in the mix. And
Okay.
you know, I disagree with Kim. Like having Jameis here doesn't make sense to me. That's the thing that would make the least amount of sense. Jameis or a Jameis type player. That's what you're referring to,
Yeah,
right? You
right,
said to bring
right.
Jameis back. I don't think this team's in a place where that. I think that's, to me, doing the build. I get why Cam would want him, because Cam wants a path where he can look at it and say, like, this guy has won games in the league, and you know, I'm at the end of my career and I want to win. I get why Cam would want it. I don't think that would be not Jameis even in particular, a player in that
Jameis caliber. Yeah.
a quarterback of that caliber, I think would lead to the biggest criticism I've ever made of this organization. I think I would hate that move more than anything they've ever done, because it does not make sense. Be good with one of these guys, or draft Klubnik or Sellers or Nussmeier. And I mean, that's really, I'm okay with either path, but like if you're winning 6 games and you're missing on everything because you took a quarterback who, you know, isn't going to win you a Super Bowl, no.
Just straight up no.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm tied between both. And your Jake Haener point was good, and it had me thinking to go more on the side of not pursuing the veteran, but also in that it gave me another justification on why the Saints should pursue a veteran.
All right, let's hear it.
Situational knowledge, situational awareness, situational just being in the situation and be able to handle it. He doesn't have that. When he was in the game, and I mean, he was out there with a makeshift offensive line.
No doubt.
Yeah, I don't want to make it seem like he just was out there crumbling and falling, but with a makeshift offensive line. But he was out there and he was getting sacked, and things that he can think about and talk about is cool, but until you're in that, you can't really
Quick interjection.
hit it.
The head coach of the team couldn't play in the league. I don't.
You
think
got
that,
a point.
I don't think that, you know, I don't think understanding and being able to tell someone how things should get done.
Yeah.
I don't think you necessarily have to be Tom Brady to do that.
Okay.
You know what I'm like?
No,
I don't
feel
think most of them are.
I feel what you're saying, but the most experience in that room is Spencer Rattler right now with all losses.
Yeah, and I mean, look, you're making the argument I was making at the beginning, but I think I've acquired more of a willingness to sink and completely sink.
Okay.
As I watch the quarterbacks in next year's class, like
You're high. You're
I'm
high
like-
on them. Yeah.
I'm excited about the possibility of like, look, like if it works, it works. But like,
Yeah.
the door B to me is like so appealing that I am willing to get there. You know, if it ends up there, I'm like, this is good. Like, I don't think there's a downside here if you are legitimately awful. No, if you're just bad, there's downside.
Yeah.
Legitimately awfulness is exciting still.
How late does it become to pull the parachute, though, on this group of people that you already have in the building?
I don't think you pull the parachute on them at all. Like, I want to see if they
Sink or swim?
yeah, like, look, if Shuck ends up being your franchise quarterback, Rattler ends up being your franchise quarterback, that's the best situation, because now you're drafting the defensive end next year, or the defensive tackle. Either one of the Clemson guys, great outcome. The Ohio State safety, like if you're drafting 8th, like, man, I think he's the best player in the class, but I don't want to take him first. But if you're drafting like 7th, 8th, like that's a good outcome. So if your quarterback's good, like I think that's the best possible outcome. But man, if they are not good, I'm totally fine, like looking at Klubnik, Sellers, Nussmeier. And I don't know which one is going to be. I don't know who ends up being the best one. I think Sellers is the one that is the most tantalizing. Got to see a huge leap. Like he could even go back to college next year. Like he's that young.
Yeah.
So, you know, but still, either way, I'm just okay. Like I think my willingness. I think I've developed callous to the idea of like extreme failures. I watch them. I'm like, damn, these guys, like, this class could be really good. Now, there's a lot that like Nussmeier needs to have the game slow down for him a little bit. Klubnik needs to just take that next step in just putting everything together. I think he's the closest one to having it together. Sellers needs to just everything. But like, man, the combination of all of it, like his traits are crazy. And then there's always who the hell is this guy? It comes out of nowhere. So like, who's that going to be? Is it the Oklahoma State quarterback? I think they got the transfer from Washington State or Oklahoma. Like, there's a couple guys out there that I think could still be it. Drew Aller could end up putting it all together. So I mean, like, there's a possibility this class is like really good.
There is a high possibility to that, but how do you not fall into the trap of just continuing to shoot the dice every year?
Look, quarterback, once you got one.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but what if it doesn't hit next year? What if none of those guys hit next year? What if now you got to go and look to another year? Now Kellen Moore is maybe not here. How do you avoid that? But back to
there's one number that lets you pull money out of the pot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, once you're pulling money out of the pot, that's when you stop rolling you bust. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get a chance to roll sometimes because you aren't. It's not your turn. Yeah,
right.
Like. That's the difference between being bad and awful. Like, you need if you're just watching and the dice aren't in your hand, like, you don't got a chance. But like, if you're in position to roll and you don't have money in your hand,
you can't do it.
Yeah, you got to keep
sit
rolling.
Sit back and watch.
Yeah,
that's all you got to do. But another reasoning on why they and live, I'm being pulled towards the other side, but. Another reason why I think they shouldn't actually go for a veteran quarterback is because they can now default on that and get back into that mode that they were in before of, well, this can be a patch, and now we can patch this, and that, and try to make it work. I don't think you need to be in that position at all. I think you need to just fully embrace the rebuild, fully go into, okay, now we can move forward with these new plans and this new system and not have that opportunity to say, oh, well, this hadn't worked out, but this veteran guy came in and he's won X amount of games, and now you're back on that high of, oh, well, we can do it. You know what I mean? I think that is also somewhere that you don't need to be.
Yeah, I let me sum up my whole thought process in one easy sentence. If you can't win, just lose.
There you go.
That's where I'm at with it. If you can't win, just lose.
There you go.
I mean, I think that's the ethos of the season. Just, yeah, like, especially at that position. If you can't win with these guys, just because winning with, I don't even know who's out there anymore, but winning with like a Joe Flacco type,
there's a lot of,
that would be terrible.
And that's the thing. There's a lot of top-heavy teams right now at quarterback, the New York Giants, and you keep on talking about the Cleveland Browns because Kenny Pickett might become available. Super Bowl champion.
No, I don't want Kenny Pickett here.
You don't want Kenny Pickett. Neither do I.
Winning a game with Kenny Pickett would be like
it's
the
gross.
most pointless thing in the world. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
you learn nothing.
I don't even want to like engage in watching that. Like, I want nothing to do with it.
I mean, look, that sum up sentence that you had, I think that's the best way to close this out. So we're gonna hit a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll have more show. Keep it locked to NewOrleans.Football.
Rouse's Markets is voted best grocery store in New Orleans, best grocery store in Baton Rouge, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, Thibodaux, Houma, Hammond, Lake Charles, Mobile, year after year. Thank you for choosing us best grocery store on the Gulf Coast. Number one. Thank you.
Thank you.
The number one grocery store
In Mississippi, Alabama,
Louisiana. 1 million customers a week can't be wrong. Welcome to Rouse's.
The NewOrleans.Football show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out. Looking for the best insurance coverage at the lowest price? Look no further than Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency. They are a local independent insurance agency right here in New Orleans, specializing in home, flood, and auto insurance. At Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, their dedicated team will shop every available carrier in the market, ensuring you get the most comprehensive coverage at the lowest possible price. Why settle for less when you can have the best? Trust Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, to protect what matters most to you. I do. I've been a client of theirs since 2021. Call them today at 504-326-6526 or visit them online at Protected by Chabert. That's 504-326-6526. Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, your local insurance experts. Hardhide flavored whiskey, Ponchatoula strawberry, and Chilton County peaches in your favorite bars, stores, and restaurants. Hardhide Chilton County peach whiskey is a blend of aged wheat whiskey, light American whiskey, and fresh Chilton County peaches from Alabama's Durbin Family Farms. And Hardhide strawberry whiskey tells the story of a small town famous for strawberry farming. A delicious natural strawberry-infused 86 proof whiskey for whiskey lovers. Just look for the red and orange bottles in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants.
Welcome back to NewOrleans.Football. It is now time for our next segment presented by Shawbear Insurance, the Earhart Agency. When you look up Shawbear Insurance, make sure you look up the Earhart Agency. Let's get into this segment. What tier do the 2025 Saints exist in? Now, when I say tier, you have your legacy tier of teams like the Cowboys, the Steelers, the Packers, where no matter, and there's the 49ers, other teams on there too, where no matter how good or bad they are, they still get run, they still get play on national television and in national circles. Then you have that hot ticket team like you have right now. The Eagles also could be a legacy team, but the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Texans.
The Chiefs are a legacy team.
The Chiefs are a legacy team? Okay, well,
They're like they were like in the first Super Bowl, man. Like
correct. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. They are a legacy team, but there were times where, pre-Alex Smith, you were like, okay, the Chiefs are on TV. Who cares? You know what I mean? A little bit like that. But you have that run of teams, those teams that are hot, like the Ravens, which, hot team. You go and watch the TV if they're on, the Bills, things like that. Then you have that kind of other tier of middle of the pack. And even though the Falcons have Mike Penix and he's going to be in his sophomore season, they still have a safety net in Kirk Cousins where they can be included in that middle of the pack. And J.J. McCarthy also kind of this is going to kind of be his rookie year, but there's too much talent on that team for this to just be chalked up to, they have a rookie quarterback. So I'm putting them in that middle of the pack also. But then you have that young team tier, that young quarterback tier, the Tennessee Titans, honestly, the New Orleans Saints, we'll discuss where they should be at. And, Cleveland Browns, the Patriots, players like
you got one on there that I think is outrageous.
What's the one that you think is outrageous?
You just said it. You just
the Patriots?
Said it. Patriots.
You don't think they're in a young quarterback tier?
Well, I mean, the good or bad they get attention tier, they're in the good or bad get attention tier.
At this point?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not talking about Thursday night football games.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm aware of everything Drake May does. I'm aware of everything that happens with them because they get that much. There's still the thing where if you're a above average player in New England, it's the same thing with the Cowboys. There's just so much media there. Okay. So much people in national media came from there. They are still. I would say the Chiefs maybe in the current moment are the most important team in the NFL, but the Patriots are still
top team in the 21st century.
Good or bad. They haven't been bad long enough to become irrelevant. They are still They're still interesting. They just got Vrabel, who is a guy that everybody hypes. I think they're still in the good or bad get attention. I don't think they're teetering on irrelevance yet.
So now they're up in the primetime tier. Or
no, I think they're in the good or bad get attention tier.
Okay.
Yeah. Hold on. How many primetime games do they got? Talk for a minute.
All right. So the way I was breaking this down, just was kind of looking at who have been on those primetime games of the Christmas Day games, the Black Friday games, the Thursday night football. I kind of really still don't count, even though those are good games. It's not just that old color rush kind of game like it used to be. But I didn't have them included because a year ago, all you were doing, 2 years ago, Bill Belichick was the graphic. You didn't have any players on the team to be the graphic. Now you have Drake May, and I'm still giving him a little grace and time because he doesn't have any premier receiving talent except for Stephon Diggs now, but they've become such a side quest, side mission type team. And I respect the Patriots highly. But
they got three primetime.
They got
games.
3 primetime.
Yeah,
games.
I mean that's the right amount for a legacy team that isn't good. That feels like the right number, right?
Okay. Yeah.
The Saints kind of existed there too post Drew. They still get some primetime games because they were still a good or bad get attention team. I think it takes a minute of failure, and they got an interesting young quarterback. So I think they're just holding on by. I think people are still interested to see what happens post Brady. I think this feels and then if they miss on this one, I think they drop.
Okay.
Am I tripping?
No, I don't think you're tripping. I think once you get to that point, then you get into we need a new uniform and need to refresh and need to do all of that rebranding type territory. But I think with Vrabel.
You nailed it. The league agrees with you on the other 3. Saints 0, Browns 0, Titans 0. So you killed it on those 3.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. And I think in any other situation the Patriots are, but they're the Patriots. Yeah.
Right. All fair. But what really made me think about this is the fact that the Saints used to be in that tier of primetime, especially Drew and Sean together. And then when it was just Sean, they still were getting run and still were getting played because you wanted to see them. But now it's just, and rightfully so, we talked about it when the schedule came out. They should be in this, let me go behind the curtain and get myself together and then come back out when I'm ready. You know, don't just go out there and lay an egg and just be bad consistently and then people regret putting you on primetime. Just don't be on there. Recoup and then come back out strong.
I've said this before. It's funny for me because, like, my personal feeling of however you're tiering the level of interest is higher this year than it was last year. But if I lived in Tennessee, like, it would be just buried lower than ever. You know, it's like I watch these videos. I was watching a dude play Madden this morning, and he's like, Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler, like, what are the Saints doing? This guy's old, this guy's old, this guy's old, da-da-da-da-da. And it's like I totally get it from like, that view. Like, if you aren't up on it, like, I understand it. But, like, for me, it's like, I'm like, oh, Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler. You know, it's not like the tone of voice is completely different on it for me than it is. But I get it. Like, any person that's like, this is the least interesting team in the league right now, like, I'm like, I understand where you're coming from, but I vehemently disagree. Yeah. Like, for me, my level of interest is heightened, but they might already see through the, you know, maybe being too close to it. Like, I can't see through the veneer. Yeah.
No, I got you on that. Even yesterday, it's funny that you said that because I was trying to convince my girlfriend's grandmother that the preseason games are still good games because you get to see possibly the starter play, whichever one it is. I was like, you got the one against Jacksonville where you get to see the starter play, and then Travis Hunter is coming down here for Jacksonville, and then the one against Denver where you're going to see the starter play, and then you have Sean Payton. So those are still viable games, good games. So, yeah, that level of excitement of seeing it, whether it's a car crash or a car just on the drag strip doing this thing, you're stopping to watch it.
Like, I'm not thinking it's going to be good or anything like that. But, like, it's like one of the things, like, if, like, there's, like, a really clean glass panel and you're up on it, like, I've walked into them before. Like, whereas when you're, like, from a distance – everybody has it.
I haven't.
Absolutely. You haven't lived long enough then. But, like, if you're far enough away, like, there's some, like, light reflecting off it, and you're like, oh, that's, like, glass there. But, like, if you're too close to it and, like, you turn quick, you're like, oh, all right. Like, I might just be too up on this piece of glass to even, like, recognize it's there. But, like, if you're far enough away from it, like, it's like, oh, like, this is you can't go through that door. Like, there's nowhere to go.
Wow.
And that might be what this is right now.
Wow.
You've never walked into a piece of glass?
Never.
I know Joe has. Joe's probably done it about 15
Joe's a Looney
times.
Tunes character. Of course he has. Shout out to Joe, man. You're doing your thing.
I know damn well Mike has, too.
Yeah.
But I think you've never turned too fast and hit some glass and been like, oh, damn it.
No.
Damn, all right.
Never.
Well, all right. Well, it's happened to me.
You said I haven't.
It's
I probably
one of
haven't.
the most disorienting things that can happen to you.
You just feel discombobulated.
Yeah, and that could be where everyone that, like, is like, oh, I'm excited to see these quarterbacks. Right. We might be walking into that glass and it might be like, what the hell just happened? Like, but yeah, that might be where it ends up.
See, and that's why I was on my mind frame with the veteran quarterback thing. But that's all a fair point, man. Oh,
never. A mirror? You ever walked into a mirror?
No.
All right.
I've never walked into a mirror.
Like,
I'm not even saying this like I'm not a klutzy dude.
Like, because you ain't go to the mall though. Like, anyone that went to the mall in the 80s or 90s almost walked into a mirror.
The mall?
Or 2000s, yeah.
Man, I rode through Esplanade. I rode through Lakeside. I rode through Oakwood.
Were you in a mall when you could smoke in a mall? See, it's different, man. You ain't from the mall right
years old.
That's what I'm saying. They used to have the smoking section in the middle of the hallway. Like, you're buying clothes and shit. Like, people are
just spazzing
wild, man. Wild to think about.
Oh, man. Y'all.
It's wild to think about how we used to live, man.
Man, y'all was wilding back in the day, man. But, no,
they sold Newports in the mall, man.
In the mall.
Like, yeah.
Cartons or packs?
Packs, yeah. If you're buying a carton from the damn mall, that's insane. What are you doing with 10 packs in the mall, man? That's like a get it and go thing. That ain't a let me get this in like
doing that like a stick of gum.
I mean, in a mall kiosk, like, just the logistics of this are just ridiculous, man.
I'm not up.
All
I'm
right,
not.
let's-
I'm not up. I'm not up on cigarette distribution game. I'm not.
You shouldn't be.
I'm
Like
not.
it's like from a bygone era. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's
like
before-
newspapers and cigarettes and all that.
Before
yeah.
my time.
VHS. Yeah.
All of that. Oh, I know about VHS.
But I'm just saying, like they're in the same.
They're in the same
They're
kind
in
of
the same
category.
receptacle. Yeah.
Okay. Back to the tiers. The Atlanta Falcons, you could say, oh, well, they're coming in. They have a quarterback who doesn't have 10-plus games under the belt, but they have a veteran waiting in the wings that they can pop in there. And then if Kirk Cousins decides to magically put it all back together, now they're in that tier of upper. I wouldn't even put them on prime time like that. The Falcons aren't.
Who are you talking about?
The Falcons.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not interested in them, but
Yeah.
they could be. I mean, they could be like if Penix is good, and then they got Drake London. I mean, that's like a very and Bijan. Like
Yeah.
if the quarterback's good, they become an interesting team. I know like people here don't want to hear that, but like they do quickly become an interesting team if the quarterback's good.
Yeah, because even I was just thinking, and it's so funny because the way we talk about things, it's kind of like off screen. We think about what things matter to you, what things matter to me. I'm thinking about in terms of who do you put together on a graphic to put on this, say, next week, check out this game. And for the Falcons, it could be Penix. And if he's not good, they'll take him off and put Drake May on there. If he's not good, then they'll recycle
Drake London.
Drake London. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Drake London on there. I was thinking about the Patriots
Yeah,
because I'm
yeah,
going back to that
yeah.
point of Judon. They have him now. The Patriots used to put him on there as their premier player, but then he went to the Falcons. So that's really the thing. Like with the Saints, you have Demara, you have Alvin. But are you going to put Spencer on there? Are you going to put Tyler Shuck on there if they haven't proven anything to a certain point? But you don't have to worry about that this year because
At least the Saints still got some graphics guys, like even
Tyron.
Yeah, I mean just legacy graphic guys, even yeah. I mean, you could throw Cam on there, you could throw DeMario on there, you could throw Tyron on there. You got Alvin, you got Chris. Like if Shaheed's playing, he's a guy that can go on a graphic. They got some graphic guys.
Okay.
They got some. I mean, they got fantasy relevant players and they got legacy players. Like so, they got some graphic guys. Now, do they got guys that you want on the graphic this year? That's a whole different conversation. But yeah, I mean, they aren't there yet. But
Right.
they're a year away from being from that if other things don't work out.
Because a lot of those people are going to be gone. And then even if you get to that week 14 through 16 and this person's hurt, but this person might play, but this person probably won't play. And now you got to try to pick somebody and scraping at the bottom of the barrel. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, too, is if the quarterback ain't good, whoever it is, Shuck or Rattler, all of a sudden hanging on to Chris Olave doesn't make a lot of sense. Hanging on to Rashid Shaheed doesn't make a lot of sense. I think you go into a whole different layer of rebuild and trying to allocate assets in different ways to where you're building alongside your next quarterback.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it gets bleak beyond just like these guys are too old to be here. Like it gets bleak to the point where nothing is working and we have to reset this whole timeline.
You get to, not to poo-poo on them, but you get to New York Jets, New York Giants territory of just consistently having to do that across the board. And even I'm thinking about the adage that the Saints always lose out on talent and they end up going places, i.e. a Zach Bond or a Trey Hendrickson. The Giants have it the worst out of anybody because they let Saquon walk. They got it on tape, letting him walk. And then he goes and not only goes to a division rival, but wins the Super Bowl there, gets the Madden cover. And now you got to see him also twice a year. Oh, man,
If they
make somebody cry, boy.
I don't know what I would have done if someone had that footage on me, man, making that decision. I don't know. I don't know, but something would have had to happen. Something would have had to happen. I can't believe they let that.
Catching it in 4K.
I mean, they
is
thought they were
crazy.
right, though. Like, so they didn't think that they probably slept easily at night thinking that, we made the right decisions. And, man, they didn't. Like, that blew up in their face worse than anything. Yeah. Yeah.
Caught in 4K, and now you got to see it twice a year.
Yeah.
Continue to regret it. So, oh, man, that's rough. That's rough. That's real rough.
Yes.
We're going to hit another break, and then when we come back, we'll have more show. Keep it locked to NewOrleans.Football.
I got hurt in a car wreck. Why should I get Gordon?
Because when you're hurt, you need money. And I fight for the people of Southeast Louisiana every day. I got a client who injured their neck in a car wreck, $250,000. Another client was hit by a big truck and needed back surgery. I got them $700,000, and they deserved every single penny.
That's what I'm talking about. Why wouldn't I get Gordon?
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, just call me, New Orleans. Get it done.
Call 504-800-8888.
Hey, if you're into the fried stuff, and let's be honest, who isn't? Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant just stepped it up. Their new cheese sticks actually stretch. The fried okra is crisp and seasoned just right. And the fried green tomatoes, that crawfish cream sauce takes it over the top. They're open every day, and they deliver late when the cravings hit. Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant. Delicious food, superior service. Attention Saints fans, don't let pests and termites invade your home field. Trust the team at Red Pest Solutions to tackle those unwelcome visitors. Call the Red Man today for unbeatable pest and termite control. Score peace with no pest. Visit redpest.com, REDDPEST.com.
Welcome to the Queen Casino, the crown jewel of entertainment destinations. From the thrill of gaming, where every spin and deal brings you closer to fortune, to the excitement of sports betting, where you can feel the rush of victory. Our spaces and catering menu are perfect for any event. From business meetings to grand celebrations, immerse yourself in our vibrant atmosphere with live music that keeps the party going all night long. Join us at the Queen Casino. Your royal adventure awaits.
Welcome back for more NewOrleans.Football. It is now time for the Get Gordon question of the day, presented by Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Today's question is, who do you think this draft class will reflect the most on, Mickey Loomis or Kellen Moore?
It's a good question. I mean, both actually. I mean, I think it kind of ends up with them in the same place. If things don't work out, I think things don't work out for either one. Really, I think it's important that it hits, especially Banks. I think there's a lot on the Banks one.
Yeah.
There's something on the Shuck pick. As I say here today, I don't want to I don't know how I'll feel about it at the end. I have a higher tolerance of missing on a quarterback than I think the general public does, because I know what's at stake and what you have to do to win that game. And I think that's one of those things where if it misses, people kill them for it. But if you're looking at it from just a mathematical odds standpoint, you can't win if you don't play the game. And you have to play the game. And at 40, I feel like missing on a quarterback in the second round, I'm okay with it if you see something to chase. And that is always going to be my take on it. But I think they have to have a good draft class in general for it not to reflect poorly on both of them.
Right. And we've talked about this before this offseason on how this draft class, and really honestly the last one too, they both have to coincide and hit really good for the organization moving forward. But you telling me you weigh the Banks pick less than the Shuck pick? That's your
No. I weigh the Banks pick more than the Shuck pick.
That's what I meant to say.
But look, I'll put it to you like this. To me, missing on a pass rusher at 40 is a bigger miss than missing on a quarterback at 40, because just the inherent level of gamble that you have to take to get a quarterback at 40, the quality of player is different. And I would say, the next tier of difficulty hitting actually is probably a pass rusher at 40. The quality of player you get at 40 is different. But I think if you miss on a tight end at 40, your scouting is just so jacked, relative to, because the guy you're getting there, the positional value is different. It's so hard and so rare to get a quarterback that I think you just have to take a shot. It's kind of, sometimes you're playing out of your depth and you just have to have an opportunity to hit. And it's just to me that's just kind of the throw it up thing, at a certain extent. I'm not willing to just kind of take those risks at the top. I feel like if you miss at the top on a risky pick at 10, 11, I'm not just you got to take one guy in the first round, and I'm not either in the second or the third, but I think the level of risk there is just baked into the whole equation to where it's you have to take chances to win, and you just have to expose yourself to a greater range of negativities when you're taking one at 40. But you also have to take one at 40 to hit. So it's does he have some traits? Yeah, he does. And I see the traits on him. And I also see very clearly how it could not work out. And I personally am okay with that gamble. But, I think in general, the draft class as a whole, you have to hit on the bulk of your picks. That has to change as a whole. But, yeah, I weigh those picks differently. If you miss on Banks, I'm just not okay with missing on a top 10 pick at any position. But I don't know. I've always felt that way. That's always been my take on the quarterbacks. Every time we've talked about, I'm like, I don't care if you miss in the second or third round. I just don't give a damn. Like, I think it's okay.
Look, I respect scared money don't make money. I really do. But I'm having not trouble, but I'm in my mind. If Banks becomes a mid-tier player, which I think he can be high level, I don't want it to come off as I'm thinking and pencil him in as, oh, well, yeah, he's going to be mid. If he's mid to maybe you have to move him around at another spot to make him work, not all the way Trevor Penning level, but on that same 1 to 10 scale, a 6 or a 5.5. And one of those quarterbacks hits tremendously, and you have Shuck, and he isn't at that level. I don't know if I'm sitting here and
see, but here's the thing.
I don't know.
I think if your take on this is that you're going to kill them if they miss on this pick, then you should already be mad about it. I don't think it's
because they took it.
I don't think this is something that is fair to have results based analysis on. I think that's the wrong way to. Your philosophy right now should be they should never draft a quarterback in the second round because they all miss. Like, so you should be pissed at them for taking the chance now. It shouldn't be, well, I'm going to wait to see if they got the outlier and then I'll celebrate them, but I'm going to wait to be mad at them. No, you should already be mad at them. Like, stand on it.
If you're going to stand on it,
stand on it. Your philosophy should be, historically, these picks never hit. There's only one Jalen Hurts. You know, second rounders never make it. Third rounders never make it. The success rate is this, and it should be today. F them, they made the wrong decision. But don't sit back and be scared to say it. And put yourself, so like my whole thing is I'm okay with it. I'm okay with taking a chance on something that you know is probably not going to hit. I feel like they already probably lost on the pick, and I've already rectified that in my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with taking the chance if you say, I think this is the reason why this guy's going to hit, because I would take that risk being where they exist. They don't have a quarterback. There's no other way to get one. Like, you had to take a chance here. But, like, I don't think that you should. I just feel like the philosophy, like analyze the philosophy of it, and to me, it should be today. That should be set, and it should be I'm okay with any variance outcomes, or it should be no. They need to fire these people for making this decision that historically, all the data tells me it's not going to work, and that's my take today.
And I understand your viewpoint because even with Spencer Rattler, 5th. Not weighing if he hits him, he was taken in the 5th, so it's like a not inconsequential, but
it's inconsequential to me, man. Like if they miss on a 5th round linebacker, I never think about it again. Yeah,
I got you.
You miss on yeah. I mean, that's always people always do that. Oh, like why'd they draft a quarterback there?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, like if it was a a tight end, like you wouldn't give a damn. Yeah,
right. No, I feel you on that. I feel you. That's food for thought. That's food for thought in the future. That'll do it for this edition of New Orleans.Football. We appreciate you all for stopping in today. Catch you next time.